While London is safe, take it from me, I've been here for 12 years, it is a major metropolitan city, which does mean there are some people here with sticky fingers. And unfortunately, as a tourist, you are their main target. But don't let that stress you out, because of all my years of traveling the world and exploring London, I have only been pickpocketed once, because I was very drunk at a club, because I know exactly what to do to avoid it. So let me tell you how to not only not lose your stuff, but to also feel relaxed and not stressed during your trip, because you don't need to be. Okay, let's start with how to make yourself less of a target. Now, you're a tourist, and sometimes there's just no getting around the fact that it is obvious that that is what you are. But pickpockets are always looking for the most confused, naive, and distracted tourists, so if you can manage to not give off that vibe, then that is ideal. Some of it comes down to what you're wearing. Things like extremely functional and not particularly that nice clothing pieces like rain jackets and workout trainers, combined with being near some of the mega attractions, is a big sign. Personally, when I travel, I try to have a balance of comfort and like a little bit of fashion. Sometimes it's about how you act. If you're looking around, seeming confused, if you're using a paper map, or if you're speaking really loudly, which does indicate American and I have money. So be conscious of that if you can. And don't carry around big bags with you if you don't have to. Carrying around suitcases and large backpacks give off that you're a tourist and that you also have a lot of stuff with you that might be great to take. So think about, do you really need to carry a lot of stuff around with you while you're sightseeing? Leave as much as you can back at your hotel and go back and forth so you can leave things nice and safe there. Personally, I use quite a small bag when I go out sightseeing, and I store my luggage at the hotel if it's before or after check-in or check-out. Be aware that the most touristy areas of any city are where pickpockets are operating the most, so this is a great excuse to leave some of those areas and try to go explore a little bit more locally. Personally, for me, I know I'm usually a little bit more on guard with my stuff when I'm in central London, especially around the sites, versus when I'm around the area that I live in East London. Still have to be careful, but it just doesn't feel like as much. What to do and what not to do with your valuables. For most tourists, your most valuable items are your passport, cash, credit and debit cards, and your phone. Your passport and anything else that is valuable that you don't have to take out with you exploring should always be locked up in a safe in your hotel room. Do not carry your passport around with you. You don't need it for identification when you're going around London. You can just take something like your driver's license, and it's definitely gonna be much safer in your safe in your hotel room. I also don't think you need one of those like little pouchy things that you can put your valuables in and then like tuck it under your shirt. I think it's a little over the top, and again, like don't take that stuff out with you. Plus, if you need to access it, then you have to like lift your shirt up and then get in it, and so everyone sees that you have all your stuff under there anyway. For credit cards, obviously you'll need to pay stuff when you're out and about, so I would usually say to take one physical card with you per person, and for everybody to then have mobile pay set up on your phone, so that's Apple Pay or Google Pay. That way everybody has two methods of payments, but you don't take everything out with you just in case sticky fingers come. Plus, if you're in a group, you have like lots of backup options. Also, nothing should be in your back pocket of your trousers or your jeans. That is the easiest way to get pickpocketed, especially if you're in a crowd, because you will not feel it. Your stuff should always be in the front pocket, or if you have a zip pocket on a jacket, that works too. I usually use that in the winter, and I'll keep my phone in the pocket and also keep my hand in the pocket just to like always have my hand on it. But if you're somebody that carries around a bag, that's even better. Just chuck everything into the bag and make sure that you can seal it up with a zipper or a button so that hands can't get in. As for cash, you've probably heard me say in other videos that you don't really need it for London, but if you have some on you for like tipping your tour guide or something, the same rules apply as for where you're gonna store your debit and your credit card. Just not in the back pocket, in bag, you know, all that stuff. And actually the same rules go for your phone. Try to keep it either in your front pocket or zipped away or tucked away somewhere. If you watched my video about how to pay for public transport in London, you might have seen that I think the best way to pay for it is by using mobile pay on your phone. And a lot of people commented on that video saying they didn't feel safe pulling their phone out and using it at the ticket barriers, you will never have a problem there. Hundreds of thousands of people do that every single day on the tube in London and while getting onto a bus. Plus there's 9,000 staff and 9,000 cameras that are just right around the ticket area, so no one in their right mind would ever try to swipe a phone there, or a credit or debit card, or anything really. How to protect your valuables, some of my quick tips. Keep your bag looped around your leg when you're sat on the tube or anywhere really. A common way for people to lose their stuff is to sit down at a table at a pub, put their bag on the ground, their backpack or purse, and for somebody to come along and take their foot and just slide the bag away from you while you're having a great time and not paying attention. All you have to do to avoid that is to loop one of the loops around your leg so you'll feel if somebody's doing that. Problem solved. Don't use your phone near the road or a bike lane. Unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a problem here in London lately with people on mopeds or bikes going past people that are on their phone like this and taking their phone out of their hand while it's unlocked. So to avoid that, refrain from using your phone out like this, either stood next to a road, like if you're at a bus stop, or if you're walking along the pavement and it would be easy for somebody to cycle up behind you. Instead, try to just limit how much you have your phone out while you're walking. When I do it, I usually move like to the side. So maybe there's like a building or something that kind of means that it would be hard for somebody to come in between me and that thing to swipe my phone. And I also just keep my phone kind of close to me. Also, if you have an Apple Watch or a Google Watch, that's a great thing to use on your trip because you can still follow directions on maps or read your messages on your watch instead of having to take your phone out every time that you feel it buzz or you need to check where you're going. Use a bag that closes with a zipper. Kind of talked about this already, but if you bring a bag with you, make sure that you can fully close it so that nobody can stick their hand in. Oh, and if you use a backpack, don't stick your valuables in the front pocket because it's very easy for somebody to stick their fingers in without you noticing. And finally, don't leave your valuables on the table. They are easily snatched there, and I will explain that in a second. Common scams and pickpocket tactics. Now, don't use this as a reason to be stressed, but if you know what these are, it means you can just look out for them and it'll help you to avoid them. The first is the cup and ball game or something similar. So the cup and ball game is like a group of people that are doing it on usually Westminster Bridge actually, which is where all the tourists are, where they set up this thing where it seems like if you can pick which ball is in the right cup, you bet your money, but then you'll get it back and then some if you choose the right one. And they set it up to make it look like you can win, but it is unwinnable. So not only do you lose your money, but if you stand around and watch this is like prime location for getting pickpocketed while you're distracted. So avoid these games at all costs. The petition table grab. I have seen this in action a couple of times. Thankfully, nobody's stuff got stolen because we were able to clock what was happening. But basically, this often happens like if you're at a pub table or a restaurant table outside and someone has their phone or something valuable on the table, where someone will come over and they'll have something like a clipboard or a petition and they'll be like, oh, well, would you sign this petition for like the kids football league in the area? And you're like, oh, that's really nice. And they put the sign or the clipboard down to the table and you don't realize that they put it on top of your phone. Then when you're like, nah, we're good, thanks, or you do the signing or whatever, they pick up the clipboard and they take your phone with it without you noticing. So never leave anything on the table, and also just keep an eye out for stuff like that if you're like outside or just at a big table or in like a rowdy place. Trying to give you something for free. This doesn't actually happen as much in London as it does in other cities like Paris, where someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, here's a free rose, or here's a bracelet, and they tie the bracelet onto you. It doesn't happen as much here, but basically if someone comes up to you with something free, it's never free. So just firmly say no thank you. Someone doing something very distracting. Londoners tend to keep to themselves, so if somebody comes up to you quite randomly while you're like stood on the side of the road and starts talking to you, it could be something nefarious. And what they might be doing is trying to distract you while somebody else like puts a hand into a pocket or into a bag to grab something from you. Now, it also could be something that is not like that, and someone's maybe just trying to help. What I do when this happens, if someone comes up to me, is I don't get defensive, but I do, just as a precaution, put my hand onto my bag to make sure it's like zipped up. If I have my phone in my pocket, I will also put my hand in my pocket to make sure I know where that is. And I just kind of keep aware of my surroundings, and I'm totally fine if something was going to happen. Now, please do not watch this video and suddenly become scared for your trip and nervous about coming here. As I said, London is quite a safe city. The majority of people live here and work here with absolutely no problems, including myself, all day, every day for years and years and years. But by using my tips and just being aware of some of the stuff that sometimes happens here means that you will be totally fine and absolutely prepared for your trip. And if you are going to be taking public transport when you're in London, it's a little confusing to understand how you can actually pay for getting on the tube and on the bus. So I have a video that tells you everything you need to know about paying for transport in London, and you can watch that by clicking the box that's popping up right over here. And I'll see you in the next video.